Hey folks, in this video I want to show you my favorite UI kit library for React, which is ChakraUI. Let's see it in action. This is the website of ChakraUI, chakra-ui.com, and let's get started. We can add it to our project using npm, yarn, pnpm, and so on. So let's do it. I already have my React project in place. I run the command. Now ChakraUI is installed in our project. Let's use it. Previously, I had a button component. I'll remove it, and I'll use the button component of ChakraUI. So let's import button from ChakraUI React. Okay, we have the button. I call it click me. Okay, as you can see, the button is not styled at all. While if you look at the components, it should look like this, right? So there is one step we need to do before the styling and the theme is applied to the ChakraUI components. So let's go back to the Getting Started guide, and they say that you need to add the Chakra provider. Let's do it. Okay, so this is the main application, but there is another entry point, which is index.js, where our application is actually mounted. So we can also add it here. So ChakraUI provider, I copy the import. Okay. If I go back to the application now, the button, it looks much better. Okay, what I like about ChakraUI specifically are some components that you can use to create the layout of your web application. So let me remove everything from here. I remove the header. I just keep a div. But let me replace this div with something else. Let me use the box component from ChakraUI. The box component is simply a div. Okay, yes, this one. I can get rid of this div class name up as well. Okay, so I don't have any styles coming from the CSS. I can also remove it. Okay. Now is the interesting part about ChakraUI. With ChakraUI, these components have special props that you can use that represent the CSS, more or less. So what I can do is I can use the W, which stands for width, and use 100 VW, and same for the height. So 100. Okay, we cannot see it, but now the size is the whole visible part of our web page. Now, instead of using box, which has display block, I want to use another component from ChakraUI, which is the flex component. The flex component already has display flex, exactly. And what you can do is to use the flex properties like align items, center, justify, content, center. All right. Now we have a perfectly centered button in our page. Now let's say that we want to change a little bit the style of our button. There is a special prop called variant. For instance, outline. Okay. And also the color scheme. You want to use the teal color. Okay. Pretty good. We want to change the size. We have different props like SM, which is smaller, MD, medium, LG. So let's say that we want to add some text to this page. We can use the text component from ChakraUI, and we say get started with our web app. All right. But we don't want to have them on the same row. We want to have them on a different direction. So we use flex direction column. Okay. We can style the text using all the CSS properties like font size, is 20 pixels. The font weight is semi-bold. Margin bottom is 16 pixels. But there is a better way to have vertical elements stacked together. It's vertical stack. Let me remove the bottom margin of the text. So as you can see, there is already some space between these two elements. If I add a third one for the subtitle, and I use color by Alpha 700, all right? There's a space between every of these elements, as you can see. And using the spacing prop, I can increase it 24 pixels or 16 pixels or 4 pixels. Okay. Just pretty amazing. But let's say that we want to have a different layout. For instance, we want to align the items on the left. Okay. And we use a padding of 64 pixels. All right. But on mobile view, instead, we want to show the text centered. So what we do, and this is extremely powerful, is that we can define different values for any of these props. We specify these values using an array. And each value inside the array, it's a different breakpoint. Breakpoints are basically sizes of the viewport. So let's say that I want to have it centered. Centered when the viewport is small, and on the left when the viewport is bigger. Now let's do this. Text align center on the title. Okay. And here we go. But let's say that we want to show the element centered even on the second breakpoint. We just say null instead of repeating center. And on the second breakpoint, the elements will still be centered. Okay. So we want to have these two elements on the same line on the bigger breakpoint. So like here, subtitle and get started. So take action. While on mobile, there is not enough space. So we want to stack them vertically. So instead of using the V stack, which is the vertical stack, let me use another kind of stack. So this is the generic stack. So I use it here. Stack. Okay. For take action and get started. And spacing 16 pixels. All right. This component has a prop called direction. Align items center. Okay. So we said that if the breakpoints, the viewport is big enough, like a tablet or a desktop computer, we want to have them on the row. If it is a smaller, like this, a smaller viewport, so like a mobile, we want to have them vertically oriented. So again, let's use the responsive properties. So if it is small, we use column. If it is bigger, we use the row. ChakraUI has many other components. You can look at them on the web page. There are other layout components like grid, sample grid, wrap, container, and so on. Many different elements like the button component, the checkboxes, editable, form control, icon button, input elements, select, and so on. All right, if you have any questions about ChakraUI, please let me know in the comments and I will create another video about it. Thank you.